Assalamualaikum warahmatullah everyone. Welcome back to our analysis of Tawaruq financing or Tawaruq property financing. Let us just recap what we were doing earlier. I was trying to describe the Tawaruq contract, but now we are looking at one type of Tawaruq product, which is mortgage or property financing. And we wanted to see later on what will happen if the price of the CPO is allowed to float or change based on the market prices. Because earlier we were looking at how the Tawaruq were able to guarantee the liquidity as intended from the property sale agreement. But now if we were to allow the price of the CPO for the property sale agreement to reflect the current market price of CPO, then let us see to what extent this Tawaruq financing will be affected by that exception. Because as we know that the Tawaruq financing have fixed the prices of the CPO for both master purchase agreement and master sale agreement. By doing so, then the intended outcome of the facility will be realized and actualized. However, when we were to use al-bay' contract, meaning that in al-bay' we have a property sale and purchase involving the transfer of ownership from the selling party to the buying party, but at the same time, before the sale of the asset, the selling party or the merchant or the bank is expected to hold ownership of the asset, which also implies that the entity will be facing ownership risk or price risk, meaning that the property that is currently in their possession would increase in value or decrease in value, based on the market prices or based on the market movement prior to the disposal or prior to the sale to the customer on credit payment. So when we relax the assumption that price is no longer fixed, but depend on the market forces for the master purchase agreement, then let us see, what will happen to the Tawaruq property financing package. So the idea here is, number one, the customer entered into a sale and purchase agreement with a developer involving an office building, for example, at $12 million. So the customer pays the first payment of $2 million to the developer and proceed to obtain the remaining $10 million financing facility from an Islamic bank. So just like in any conventional bank, that the customer will go to a bank to get a loan of 10 million, and with that money, the customer will pay off the developer the remaining balance so that he or she will be able to obtain the legal ownership of the property. So using deposit fund, the Islamic bank purchases CPO from vendor 1 through a broker on cash basis. So there is a brokerage system in this Tawaruq arrangement. Just like a remiser, when we buy a stock in the stock market, there is a remiser. So in this Tawaruq system, there is also a broker who will be facilitating the sale and purchase of the CPO from the main supplier to the bank. So we have the master purchase agreement where customer purchases CPO from bank on credit basis for 15 million. So remember earlier we were looking at the terms of the Tawaruq facility. 10 million worth of facility, and then for 5-year tenure at 10% profit charge. So the profit margin is 15 million. So the customer buys CPO from the bank on credit term for 15 million. And number 3, master sale agreement is when the customer, upon receiving the CPO from the bank, the customer will sell the CPO to vendor 2 on cash basis at a price of 10 million. So that was the intended value of the purchase or sale, and therefore through the master sale agreement, the vendor is able, the customer is able to sell to vendor 2 for the intended value of 10 million, and therefore upon getting the cash money, the customer will proceed through his lawyer, to pay for the outstanding payment to the developer, and therefore obtaining the legal right over the property. And then we can see the charge agreement. The property that the customer buys from the developer is put up as a collateral against the facility. So this is basically what property financing is. But now we will see that in the Tawaruq structure, we are no longer involved in a process where the bank would be buying the property and so, like any narrative we see in Murabaha. But now the bank is using the CPO as a conduit to ensure that the customer will be able to get this 10 million, and the bank will be able to get paid over 5 years a sum of 15 million. So basically this is the summary of the transaction for Tawaruq property financing. So later on I will come back to further continue to look at the issues where the CPO prices in the MSA will be based on market prices. All right, I'll see you again. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.